Hello, I'm Soycat and welcome back to the second channel geography video. This is Evan's series where I talk about geography and the world and stuff. And today I'm going to be talking about the changing face of geography and the world that has happened over the past year, because two countries have decided to change their name in the past few months. And a lot of people are asking me to talk about this because just yesterday, right, Macedonia changed its name. It's now going to be Northern Macedonia. And a while ago, Swaziland changed to, Eswatini. And if you look at a map, you'll notice how neither of those names have actually changed. And some of this is because Google Maps does, have a little bit of a lead period on that, and some of this is because neither country has fully changed their name yet. So let's talk about name changing just a bit today, and let's talk about the two countries which have changed their name this year alone, because we have Czechia from last year, which has now kind of officially taken place. Their unofficial English name is Czechia. So let's talk about why Macedonia is still Macedonia brackets FYROM, and by me even saying Macedonia as opposed to, Fyrom, some people who are Greeks are going to be upset by that naming alone. So let's talk about what's going on here. So first of all, Macedonia, whole dispute, spoken about it before. You speak about it too much and you get people angry on the internet. But long story short, Macedonia wants to be called Macedonia, and Greece wants Macedonia to be called anything but that. The former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia is fine. Northern Macedonia is fine. There's a few other, names they suggest. But basically, there's a big conflict between the two countries, and Greece is vetoing Macedonia's, membership of the EU and also of NATO. It also blocked their UN membership even until they agreed to be the FYROM. But basically, Greece does not want them to keep that name because it seems to have aspirations onto their Macedonia region. So now you know the basic story. Again, I simplified, but both sides are kind of right and wrong. Like, there is potential future conflict with Greece, and because the borders get redrawn so much, Greece is just as long as you keep to yourself, pick any other name, we'll be happy with it. On the other hand, Macedonia feels like they're being forced to change their name by an outside power, and who would want to do that? Like, would you be willing to change your country's name just to join the, there's a bunch of conflict back and forth. So recently, there's a bunch of news articles that Macedonia had agreed to change their name to Northern Macedonia. So woo, easy as that. This video should just be that, Soycat. Why is this longer than a minute? I'm going to be one of those people who complains that YouTube videos are more than 6-second things with just a word on screen. But the reason for that is because Macedonia and Greece have actually reached a deadlock again, because the president of Macedonia, despite the two sides negotiating a deal, the president of Macedonia actually disagrees. So this man right here, I'm not going to say it out loud because pronunciation and all that, but this is an issue of names, so I feel like getting a name wrong, bad idea. But he is actually, no, he says, no, I'm not naming it North Macedonia. He does not like the deal in the slightest. And because he doesn't like the deal, that's right, this guy right here, he's not, he's anti North Macedonia. He's not a big fan of that. He instead thinks that, no, we'll work out something else. So because of that, because he blocks the deal and he's the president of Macedonia, or the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, they're not changing their name, they're not going through all the necessary steps, and therefore they're going to have to go back to the negotiating table. And to be fair, there are a few issues, because one of the parts of the deal was that they have to use Northern Macedonia domestically too, and because he felt like it was too many concessions to Greece, which, I could just blah, 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 blah. Long story short, too many concessions, he wants a better deal, and it's one of those things where it's like, well, I mean, everyone agreed it. The whole international community was like, finally, it's done, this really stupid name dispute. Because if you're from Greece and Macedonia, this is important, and I get that, and I'm not going to actually downplay it, but if you're from any other country who hasn't had a name dispute, it's like, oh my god, you guys, just get it over with. And like all countries, like the US, the UK, a lot of, huge countries, were like, yeah, it's solved, and then this comes out a day later. So Macedonia is going to be changing its name, hopefully at some point later this year. It just, it requires this whole thing to be fixed. And then the second country that changed its name just this year happened, I believe, when I was flying back from the Dominican, so I couldn't make a video because I was on a plane and didn't have internet, and / my phone had just been stolen, but it was something pretty important. But Swaziland, which is this country right here, let's be honest, you probably haven't heard too much about it. I mean, on the geography channel you might have, but the average person has not heard much about Swaziland. And it's funny because if you haven't heard about it, you'll be like, sounds suspiciously similar to Switzerland. And funnily enough, this is actually one of the reasons that he wanted to rename the country. He doesn't like that he gets compared to Switzerland abroad, and he's like, we tell people about, this is almost racist, isn't it? But we tell people about Swaziland and people think we are Switzerland. This is not okay, not okay. And I don't think it's racist to do an African accent. That's like, anyway, with that said, basically, this man right here, he's king. He's one of the few actual absolute monarchs in Africa. I think the only one that still remains. He is like, we're called Eswatini. And the reason for that, again, it's pronounced differently because blah, 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 but they're going to be renamed to Eswatini because that is their previous, prior to colonial name, and because it's been 50 years since they got independence in 1968, he was like, guess what we're doing? As a celebration, name change, Eswatini, and on the one hand, this is like a thing that I think he did immediately with the UN, which is one of the official ways to change your name, and there's a lot of internal stuff that's happening. However, as you probably read from the title of this article, changing Swaziland's name won't happen overnight, won't be costly. I mean, really, that might as well read will be costly. But yeah, the Home Ministry of the Home Ministry or the Home Affairs Ministry in Swaziland says that it won't happen overnight. There's going to be a lot of stuff happening, and because of that, there's a lot of official processes to change your name fully, and therefore, Swaziland has to change name. By the way, just some fun facts about Swaziland, because I dug into this guy, because I'm like, really? There's a king in Africa, like a really impoverished country, and he's just been allowed to stay there, and they have this big union with South Africa in terms of customs and stuff like that, so they're effectively almost like an extension of again, in some ways that like Liechtenstein has with Switzerland, they have with South Africa. Ironic given how similar the names are. Not ironic. But with that said, one of the things that I found shocking was the fact that he actually has 13 wives and his predecessor had 125. And one of the shocking things was he was going to announce that he had 2 or 3 brides at once rather than 13. And it's like, what is this kingdom where this man right here is just like, I have 2 more wives to add to the... I don't know if I should be doing accents. I have 2 more wives to add to the collection, and that's a thing that he really did. And I don't know. It's a wacky country, but you can expect Swaziland to become Eswatini on most maps at some point. Again, Google has a small lead time on this before they make it official. It took somewhere between 6 months or so for the Netherlands and Belgium border to change. They exchanged lands. It also took a while for the India-Bangladesh border to properly be fixed. Again, a lot of people think it's not fixed because it still looks like a mess, but if you saw it before, you'd appreciate that it has been fixed, sort of. And yeah, it also took a while for Czechia, which is now the new official language name for Czech Republic's change, and it's going to take a while for Swaziland to change it to Eswatini, and it's also going to take a while for Macedonia to change its name to Northern Macedonia. Again, that seems like it's the solution, but I think they want to go back to the negotiating table, get a few more concessions back from Greece as to like, we don't have to use it here, 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 and here, because Macedonians believe themselves to be called Macedonia, and although that causes issues for Greece, it doesn't cause issues for them. They're just like, yeah, they want to have a heritage, they need to have a nation built behind them with, like expanding structures and stuff like that, and yeah, that's why that exists. So as soon as that deal was reached, I imagine actually, fun fact, because it's got so much international attention, this is a big deal, not only for Macedonia and for Greece, but for the EU, for NATO, so, we're talking about the whole of the Western world, so I wouldn't even be surprised if Macedonia's name changes really, after it becomes official. I wouldn't be surprised if their map name, which is currently a mess, it's 2 names, one's in brackets, like it's a headache for Google. As soon as it's sorted out, I imagine this one will actually change. So you might see in Northern Macedonia before you see in Eswatini. But there you go, 2 countries that changed their name just this year. It's been a while since I made a shorter geography video, so geography news. The world does change. The reason I don't talk about most geography news, like, guess what, Russia and this country went into conflict, is because geopolitics like that is changing all the time. It's complex to follow. It's like a soap opera. You're watching episode 7,200. But I feel like simple stuff like a name change, that does have a finite history to it, unlike Russia-Turkey relations or something. So that's why I figured I'd make this video. Let me know what you think. More geography news video if I'm in the country when something like this happens. Or do you think this is terrible and you want to see me talk about borders? Like, where is that Colombia borders video, or whichever country I said I'd do next. So yeah, let me know. Comments down below. See you. Oh, check out links down there. Sorry, no one reads the description unless you tell them to. So read the description. I'll put in a fun joke at the bottom for you. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Second channel, don't care.